All right, boys and girls, for social studies today, we are going to be trying to get back to a normal classroom setting as much as we can. I'm going to ask that you have a notebook out and a pencil, and it would really benefit if you wrote these notes down. There is going to be an open notes quiz on Thursday, I believe. I will let you know for sure based off of these notes. So again, open notes, meaning you take the notes now, excuse me, and then you will be able to look at your notes while you take the quiz. So I think we started discussing this prior to being put on online learning. So we're just going to go over it again. So even if we've already looked at this stuff, just bear with me. We're just going to refresh and review it again. Make sure you are taking notes. And the beauty with taking notes this way is you can pause this video for however long you need to make sure you get down all the notes. So looking for the bright side here. All right, so today we are talking about education in ancient Egypt. Now, education in other cultures that we have talked about so far mainly focus on the boys going to school and the girls kind of staying home and learning how to do the cooking and the gathering and all of that. So let's see if we have a difference. All right, the boys. Only boys went to school. So right off the bat, we're seeming like we're falling into line with everything else we've already learned. The young boys learned to fish, hunt, and work in the family's fields. Boys without money learned their father's trade. So that means boys with money could pay for an apprenticeship or pay to go to school. Now, those are different, and we'll go over the differences on the next slide. So I want you to make sure you're writing this slide down. I'm just going to sit for, I don't know, I guess I'm going to count to 10 in my head. But if you need longer before I move on, just hit the pause button and you can pause it for as long as you need. So make sure you're writing. Okay. Apprenticeship is when a father pays a fee to have their son taught special skills from tradesmen. Boys worked alongside the artisans or craftsmen. This lasted for many years, and the finished boys could be weavers, butchers, goldsmiths, or musicians. So this is basically their dad would pay a weaver, a butcher, a goldsmith, or a musician to have their son shadow them and learn everything that they do. And when they are complete, then they could also be a weaver, a butcher, a goldsmith, or a musician, depending on who they were taking the apprenticeship from. So again, I'm just going to count to 10 in my head. Make sure you're writing it down. Okay. Schools. In school, boys were taught reading, writing, and arithmetic. They participated in sports and hunting skills. Students expected to have perfect behavior. If not, instructors used physical punishment as a consequence. And when finished, boys could be a scribe or a civil servant. So they were taught reading, writing, and arithmetic, pretty similar to what you're taught now. They participated in sports and hunting skills. That's almost similar. We don't really do hunting skills anymore, but you can participate in sports if you would like at school. They were expected to have perfect behavior, also still the same. And if they did not have perfect behavior, instructors used physical punishment as a consequence. Obviously, that is completely different. No physical punishment coming from Mrs. Bell or Mr. Ciccone or any of your teachers. When finished, boys could be a scribe or a civil servant. So make sure you're writing. If you need to pause the video. Okay. Girls. Let's talk about the girls. We talked about the boys. Now we're going to talk about the girls. Girls stayed home and learned skills from their mother. They learned how to work in the fields to grow wheat. They learned how to take care of livestock. They learned how to bake bread. They learned how to prepare meals. And they learned how to spin flax into linen cloth. So basically, the girls were learning skills to keep the household running without being able to grow wheat or take care of the livestock or bake the bread. There would be no food to prepare the meals. And then now that they have the food, they have to learn how to prepare the meals. They also have to learn how to provide clothing. So that's what they spend their time doing while they're at home. Make sure you're writing that down. Okay, remember, pause it if you need to. All children were taught how to be well behaved, of course. From birth to 4 or 5 years old, mothers taught their children manners. And then from 4 or 5 on, the fathers took over as teacher. Fathers used the book of instruction or wisdom. This is a book of proverb-like sayings for children to learn how to behave, and it contains lessons on good sense, charities, and the rules of life. So it's nice to have that all in a book. That's good to know. All right, so again, children from the time that they were born until they were either 4 or 5 years old. I imagine that was the family's decision if they wanted to go to 4 or 5. Mothers taught their children manners, and then from 4 or 5 on, depending on whatever they decided, the fathers took over as the teacher. Fathers used the book of instruction or the book of wisdom, which is a book of proverb-like sayings for children to learn how to behave. It's containing lessons on good sense, charity, and rules of life, or rules for life, which you guys are taught the rules for life. Like you have to wear shirts inside of stores and shoes inside of restaurants and silly things like that we all do actually have to get taught, and we get taught by example when it comes to that kind of thing. So they're just learning the rules of life too, just like we do as we get older. Okay, again, pause it if you need to. I hope you're writing these down. Next slide. Oh, or is that the last slide? That's the last slide. So we learned about, so I'm just going to go back again. This isn't like we're in class. You can hit the pause button on me whenever you want if you need more time. So again, we talked about boys. Only the boys went to school. Young boys learned to fish, hunt, and work in the family's fields. Boys without money learned their father's trade, and boys with money could either pay for an apprenticeship or pay to go to school. So really, hypothetically speaking, not hypothetically speaking, that was incorrect of me. Boys who didn't have money or whose families didn't have money would learn whatever their father was doing, and that's what they would become as an adult. And then the boys with the money could go and kind of pick and choose what they would want. So they could pick to do an apprenticeship and become one of the 4 jobs that are listed on the next slide, or they could pay to go to school and become a scribe or a civil servant. So the money is what makes the difference here. Again, apprenticeship is when the father paid a fee to have the son taught special skills from a tradesman. They could become weavers, butchers, goldsmiths, or musicians. In school, they were taught reading, writing, and arithmetic. And then at the end, they could be a scribe or a civil servant. Girls stayed home and learned skills from their mother. This isn't really different than any of the other cultures that we've learned so far. They learned how to work in the fields. They learned how to take care of livestock, bake breads, prepare meals, and spin flax into linen cloth. So again, the girls really learned how to run the household. And then all children were taught manners, and they were taught lessons on good sense, charity, and rules for life. So let me know if you have any questions. We will also discuss this in Hangouts today, even if you haven't gotten a chance, even if I'm talking to you like this has already happened. Even if you are looking at this and Hangouts has already happened, we're still going to talk about it. Again, open notes quiz on Thursday, I believe. I'll let you know for sure. But again, it's going to be right out of these notes. And if you're writing the notes down the way you're supposed to, you're going to have your notebook right in front of you. You're going to be golden. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm on Hangouts all day, and I will see anybody from my homeroom at 10 o'clock on Hangouts and anybody from Mr. Cicconi's homeroom at 10:30 on Hangouts. All right, guys. Bye.